Hi guys, this is MJ of Typeify, and in today's video we have a very special guest, which is Matt of Geek Psychology. He's here.
Hey.
So
Ah,
he will introduce himself after me.
yeah, I'm Matt Sherman from Geek Psychology YouTube channel. Excited to be here talking to another INFP about INFP stuffs, and hopefully it'll be helpful for you in your personal growth journey as well. How do you deal with stress and conflict? Have you found like something that's been helpful for you?
Stress. Hmm.
Because you're an Enneagram 6, right?
Yeah.
6 wing 7, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have a different relationship with conflict than I do as a 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of curious what your perspective is on it.
um, I think the fact maybe that I have a 7 and I'm counterphobic as a 6 makes me more the way I would calm myself down in stressful situations is very often by um I think sixes have this tendency to ask a lot of opinion from different people. It's like collect and select the best answer or course of action, or I kind of turn these people into soundboards, like, okay, I want to know what you think, what you think, what you think, and then I'll go with what I think based on what you all thought. um
Okay.
so in terms of stress, i I think I'm the type that likes to talk about it, because I feel like an INFP, very often at the core baseline we are conflict avoidant,
Hmm.
often leaning towards passive aggression.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I still struggle with that, but I'm trying my best to learn how to raise my concerns, go to the root of my stress. So if it means stress with an individual, with a group of people, with someone, I try to give them an opportunity to be like, hey, if you have a problem, let's just say, if you have a problem, like, you just tell me, and in return, I'll also continually try my best to, instead of resorting to passive aggression or doing all sorts of these tactics that we usually end up doing, I just tell them how I felt. I was hurt when you said that. That's exactly. I don't like seeing
Mm.
it affected me. I think INFPs always have this weird, quiet expectation that people should know, especially the ones closest to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But since they can't read our minds, and
Uh-huh.
very often, I think that's where our sensitivities come in. I'm not sensitive about like dark jokes. I make dark jokes myself. So I feel like INFPs are very, I don't know, but that really depends on the kind of INFP also. I think I'm more
Hmm.
leaning towards, I'm not sensitive about a lot of these weird jokes and dark jokes, but I'm very sensitive when you make a comment about what you thought my intentions were. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's right. You thought that I would do that. You thought that I'm like this. Like, how could you?
Hmm.
Um. So I think very often when I when I feel like it has something to do with me more, um, I try to give people an opportunity to just talk with me, or I push myself to bring it up.
Mm.
That way I can ease myself and like just, I've done my part. I tried my best, and um it's not always up to us. Like, I can
Mm.
only do so much, right? And if I, as a very anxious person, being a 6 also,
Mm.
it's learning how to kind of just let go if it doesn't resolve on its own.
Hmm.
So when it comes to conflict, if it involves people, usually I present the benefits of why, like, talking about this will help us in the long run. I think that's why I'm obsessed with all sorts of frameworks.
Mm.
Because, like, oh, if you know this, if you know that, if you know this, then you know why it's important and why we're miscommunicating.
Hmm.
So I think my inclination to amassing knowledge and understanding human behavior is for the reason that I get to use that to strengthen my relationships and avoid conflict. Like I remember one of my favorite authors or teachers, I guess, Jordan Peterson said, conflict delayed is conflict multiplied. So I try to abide by that rule that if
Yeah.
I keep on just sweeping this under the rug, it's going to eventually fester like the wound that we have or what we've kept for so long. Um so that's how I deal with stress and conflict. I think especially when it comes to relationships. I think it's a very difficult question because there are many types of stress and conflict, but primarily about
Yep.
relationships, I do try my best. I sometimes fail, of course, but I try my best to be very more open about what I feel and think and tell them why I'm acting the way that I am, just so they'll
Yeah.
understand. So that's how I usually do deal with stress and conflict.
Yeah. I think that's really good. Just kind of ham-fistedly attaching it to cognitive functions. It's like getting into extroverted intuition. Like, well, let me just get a bunch of different opinions. Let me talk to people about it, right? This is all
Yeah.
stuff outside going on. Okay, new possibilities, hearing this, and then
Mhm.
kind of like marinating over it or whatever, doing SI stuff, kind of reflecting, reviewing over it, and then coming up with a FI decision on it that resonates with you. And yeah, I always advocate for taking action, which sounded like something that you do. Like if there's conflict, you mentioned like don't let it fester, just do something about it first before it becomes this horrible thing that you got to deal with. And I know from talking to clients and my own personal experiences that a lot of times we're just like, I'm just not going to look over there for a little while. And then it becomes this really big thing. You're like, well, guess I should have done something about it. But, we kind of make excuses, or I make excuses about it. But, taking that faster action, I think is really good.
Yeah, that's true. So again, we're all a work in progress, so it's okay. I still
Yeah.
sometimes fail, and I know that you're also trying. And I think that's how self-awareness will help us over time. So it's a step to progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about closing the gap, like the time lag delay of there's a problem here, and like all this time spent until like I should have been aware of it, but I wasn't, or I was ignoring it or whatever, and now I've ran into the wall or whatever it is. And there's this, it's become a bigger problem. And then I think like through self-development, we just become aware of it sooner,
Mhm.
right? And then we can steer around it or whatever. But it's a work in progress. Sometimes it
Yes,
doesn't happen like we want, and that's okay.
true. And I'm sometimes embarrassed by it, but um, I'm trying my best as with all people, not to be get caught up with the whole you failed. You're a hypocrite, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of the self rejection and self criticism for when we do fail. And I think that's why it's important to always just run with it, just do it. Very Nike.
Yeah.
Very Nike.
Yeah, just do it, get new experiences, see what happens, get feedback. I think it's more embarrassing, now that I think of it, it's more embarrassing to, you know, potentially get to the end of my life and have not tried to do those things, have not attempted those. That kind of life would be more embarrassing to me than actually, I tried a thing. I didn't really know what I was doing and kind of messed up, but it's a complicated success is another gaming term. So just kind of failing forward, turning it into this is not what I wanted, but how can I kind of shift it? How can I have gratitude for it? How can I adjust it into some sort of lesson?
I really love that. I need to bookmark that in my brain. Failing forward and complicated success. Sorry. Okay, so what about you? How do you deal with stress and conflict as a nine? Are you a nine wing one
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
eight? Okay,
Nine wing one.
nine wing one. Okay.
Yeah, my biggest pattern, I suppose, for the longest time has been, well, it's not going to kill me, so I'm just going to ignore it. Like, I'll be okay. And that's, I mean, I could do that. I could endlessly do that until something actually really like hits one of my FI values and something that's really important to me. And then usually it's like I will be expanded and big or aggressive or whatever I need to do to get the thing handled. But usually it doesn't get to that point. In terms of just normal stress, I've learned a lot of techniques through NLP, neurolinguistic programming, and self-hypnosis and stuff like that. So usually I do some of those like tapping. I don't know if you know tapping. Different fingers that you can hold and stuff like that to help reduce stress. Breathing in for a count of 7 and out for a count of 11, activating the parasympathetic nervous system to calm down and stuff like that. Like those are all things that I do when things get a bit too heated for me. It usually doesn't happen too much anymore. But it does. It depends on what the stress is and what the situation is. If it's like a FE kind of like there's all these like expectations, social expectations, and drama and stuff going on. Usually I just try to get other people to calm down. And sometimes in order to do that, I kind of have to raise my emotional vibrancy or whatever, and then kind of meet them and then lower it. Or just getting them to see things in different ways. Usually it's like it's less I'm stressed out than other people are stressed out all around me. And I'm trying to kind of heal everybody, like little spot heals for everybody, and calming them down.
Such a 9. That's such a 9 thing to do.
Yeah, it is. I've got some stories, but I'm not going to get into it too much. But yeah, there was a big fight with the Yakuza here. And like I was the only one that was not fighting or anything like that. And like I went in to buy a milk tea at the time when everybody else, there's like 30 people like brawling and stuff like that. And I had life threats on me and stuff like that. And I was just like, why is everybody freaking out? Like, just calm down, guys. Like it's complete INFP 9 situation right there. But that's usually how it feels.
That's such a sorry, it's so funny because like you guys are so chill. Like if I were a 6 and people were fighting around me, I think I would have a panic attack.
Yeah, well,
Cool.
9s have the ability to self-narcotize and to just numb emotions and to not feel them and dissociate. And that has its strengths and weaknesses.
How did that turn out? That's such a very interesting story.
We became friends after.
What?
So yeah. I mean, not like BFFs, but they didn't want to kill me anymore, so that's good.
Nice. Weird question. Like, what kind of types are likely to be in Yakuzas? Is it, in my mind, it's gonna be STPs?
That was my guess, but yeah, I don't know. That's what I would have said too if I had to pick one.
Cool.
So that's stress and conflict. I have a black belt in Taekwondo and stuff like that, but I've never been in a fight. I've never physically fought anybody and rarely verbally sparred with anybody too. So
would make sense why people might think you're an ISTP.
Yeah, well, I did. I was a break dancer and used to skate, like jump on poles and grind and stuff like that, and did Taekwondo, but I was not great at those. Breakdancing was probably one of the better ones, but I didn't have rhythm or anything like that. I just had to learn it through an SI kind of approach of like, I'm just going to do this over and over again until I understand it. I think that's a lot of the importance of talking to people about their type and getting to understand how they actually gained that emergent behavior.
Yeah, true. I think that's also how I'm learning to master type. because I do meet a lot of people. Not really just through my coaching, but even before doing YouTube and being a content creator, I've already I try to talk to as much people as I can, but not in groups, but like one-to-ones of all the time, like
Yeah.
friends. I try to understand where they're like that, and then I think my SI collects that data, and it I don't know how it works, but it's my SI and NE working together as I do my FI thing, and then my TE list just tries to systematize them in my mind,
Just tries to keep up.
yeah, just like you can do it, girl. But yeah, I think it's the same. So I think people forget the nuances as to how you became a skater and how you learn how to do these things and how I'm acting a certain way. It's really through practice very often, and I think people forget that. So okay, so thank you for watching the first part of our video, and stay tuned because like we're gonna be talking about 3 more important questions about INFPs, which is about our strengths and weaknesses, what motivates us, and what maybe should motivate you to as an INFP, and how we deal with stress and conflict as INFPs. Because he's a 9 and I'm a 6, so I think that's something that we can explore together. So again, thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you do like and subscribe his channel. Go to Geek Psychology, follow Matt and all of his socials. I'll put them in my descriptions down below. And again, if you haven't already, also subscribe to my channel. And if you want to learn more how to become a happier INFP, also visit his website.
I now feel positive.com. INFP. I now feel positive.com.
And I do in-depth type assessments. You'll see the clip later after this video. So if you want to get typed by me and want to learn more about your type, visit my website at typeify.me. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.
Bye.
Follow me on my socials at MBTITime on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you're not sure if you're an INFP, INFJ, ENFP, INTJ, or any other type, book a typing session with me by visiting www.mbtitime.com. Links in the descriptions down below.